we should now be live. Hello everybody. Assuming we are actually live. Hello, hello Cairo. Yes, we are. Good. Excellent. Nice to know that everything's working. Yeah, I'm kind of just here, Berenson, you know, just getting on with things as it were. Obviously, I know Evo is still streaming, so no, I'm just going to get on with things, since a lot of this stream is probably going to be building stuff again, because annoyingly I couldn't find what I wanted on the workshop. Yeah, I'm just going to get a start on stuff. Do I like that? You know, I kind of do, actually. But I think they probably ain't gonna make it flat. Hello God, Modora. If anyone plays JW3 on console with a mouse, where can I find one? You mean, where can you find a mouse? From what I'm aware, most modern consoles will accept USB mouse of a variety of types. So you can just go and buy any generic USB controlled mouse from anywhere, from what I remember. I mean, I used to plug a USB mouse into my PS2 and it'd be fine, so I don't think you need to use proprietary Xbox or PS5 soft mouse stuff. Fun fact, yes, King Giga, that trending page has been exactly the same since the game came out. I think it's in need of updating. Yeah, I don't dislike that. I wish there was a way to put glass over the triangular bits, but I don't think we have the right shape. We do, but we don't. It's not the right. We have the right shape, but not. But we need it in a non-gridded form. This is what I mean when I have said multiple times that we need the workshop to be finished, because it feels like the workshop is so unfinished at the moment. I'm going to leave that unglassed, that little bit. I just wanted to make sure that there was like a enclosed space under this trellis. Now the big question I have is, I don't know what to do over here. Now, I ummed and ahed for ages off stream. Like, all week, I have been trying to finish this building. I was like, I'm going to finish this whole building off stream. And then, as I started getting it, like, I was happy with the gardens, and then I was thinking about, oh, what should we do over here? This bit really stuck me, though, because I've built so many different versions of what I want for this, and I wasn't sure which one I thought was better. So, what I wanted this to be is, this is a, you know, you arrive at the arrival center and you might take a car to somewhere else, you might be picked up. Now, I want some sort of canopy over this area. But what I don't know is, should it be trellis, like the other bits of this building? Should it be something made of glass? Should we go for something more like if I put down, I think it's this one? Yeah, should it be something more like this, where you've got this kind of corrugated covering? Like, I don't know what style of gantry to have over it. So I decided I would leave it to you guys, and we'll figure it out instead. I'm thinking, having thought about it for a while, I wouldn't mind if it looked a bit like this. Like, maybe we could do something like this, but bigger and down here. So, let's actually see what that looks like. I'm gonna move this slightly, because it doesn't need to be that far along. Now, something I do also want to do is I want this to curve around the edge. And not by too much. I think that's enough space. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, that'll be fine. And I suppose we need some pillars, so let's duplicate this guy. That's fine there. And then let's make another one. I think we need to make sure these are laid out correctly. So let's get one of the wood trim pieces. Nice Orville reference, King Giga. And let's take that down. Hiding the big chunks of metal that are on these fence posts is awkward. That'll have to do. So we have that one there. Duplicate that one to there. Duplicate this one and rotate it. Have it. I don't think it needs to be quite as high as this. I think that's an acceptable height. So if we have that there, and then I'm gonna need a big chunky piece of trim at the top. I don't think it's too much of a problem if it hangs. Can we switch to different camera placements so I can see what the bloody hell I'm doing? Ah. So it'll have to hang like that to hide... That's okay, maybe we can do something over the top. So, let's now delete that. Confirm, duplicate, drag over. And then, does it just change that again? Duplicate, drag over. And I think having it go that far, I think, is acceptable. I don't think we need it to go all the way along. And then I think what we need is to grab the whole thing. Duplicate it and shift it over. That's still even? Not quite. Why is it not even? Actually, maybe it makes sense to have... You're making a burgers drink restaurant, with which is also a museum with 4 floors. That's going to take a lot of work. Then, obviously, we need a roof. And I guess glass? But of course, the glass roof panel, because it's restricted in grid size, I can't get it in the same place, so we would have to do it manually. Of course we do. hate this game's modular building system. Or rather, I hate modular building systems in general that are like that. Now I just gotta hope that the flat pieces fit in that gap. Trying to get 2 Chronosaurus whale bug. Well, I hope you don't end up with the flying Chronosaurus that I had during my time at the Din event. Hello Navi, I shared a picture on the Evo Discord. Oh well, I'll have to have a look after stream. Okay, and duplicate. And I actually don't dislike that. I think that looks pretty decent. I do want it to go further up, so I think we would want another one of these piece sections. That wrong, didn't I? Do we have it all the way? Because the idea was that there were going to be like trees and stuff in here. So we wouldn't want glass over that bit, but I suppose we could go up one more chunk to have it kind of part of that. And then here, I suppose we want to kind of do the same sort of thing, so Oh, actually, do we want it to stop? Hmm. We'd have to kind of have that there. And in place. And we can do something with this, put some wood or something. And then if we just create... And then if we put some trim up here, just to... Yeah, I think that's not too bad as a covering. You're running out of motivation. I think that is, I would say that's generally a big problem with modular building as a whole. I don't think it's necessarily a failing of Evolution 3, but I think it's a failing of modular building games in general, is that they are kind of draining from a creativity standpoint. It's kind of like having a Lego set that never gets finished. After a while, you just want to, like, move on. By the way, once this arrival center is finished, I will be putting it on the workshop, because I haven't got a din arrival center yet. So we'll be going up on the workshop once it's done. That post needs to be... Oops. Oh, I didn't click duplicate. I keep doing that. Duplicate, and we can drag this out to the front. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. And then this can just be left empty because you need it empty, and then we can put in some fencing and stuff around here, which will kind of join up to whatever you put out in front here. Make sure I can still put path. Yep. Okay, so the thing with modular building is you need a lot of patience. You do, you really do. And there are some days where I just do not have the patience, that's for sure. And I guess that might be why I'm having a problem with this game, which I will freely talk to you guys about. I am not loving this game. Like, it's not loving is perhaps the wrong word. It isn't grabbing me like the other games did, if you know what I mean. I'm finding it very difficult to enjoy. It isn't your cup of... It's not that it isn't my cup of tea, because fundamentally I've always had problems with these games. You know, they've never been 100% perfect. I've always had things I think could be better about them. It's more that I am finding them just generally harder to enjoy. And I think it is solely because of the modular building. Modular building is all well and good, but it's exhausting after a while, and I think that's a potential problem. Yeah, unlike Evolution 1 or 2, where you could be like, right, I'm going to play this game for a couple of hours, and in that time we're going to make this enclosure, and we're going to have this bit done, we're going to have that bit done. You can't play this game like that. It's like, I'm going to play this for 2 hours, and in that time I might have created an element of this building which I'm happy with. And that's, I know that is a side effect of building everything modular and not relying on the workshop. And I do, at some point, I think maybe in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start a new building series to run alongside this one, which is literally just me being like, we're going to get everything for this park off the workshop. with the express purposes of seeing, like, if you're just building prefabs and stuff off the workshop, what sort of park can you end up with? As a kind of, not a test of the workshop, so to speak, but just as just to explore if that makes the game nicer to play, I guess. Okay, now this top we are not going to leave as that. I'm going to place down a secondary layer. I want the top of this to be... I think we're going to have to use the soil pieces for this rather than the grass. But yeah, I am just generally finding their game a little hard to... just be excited about playing. And when you have to make videos on it, that's also a problem, because like I don't want to spend, you know, 5-6 hours on something that's going to be a half-hour long YouTube video. There's a time to worth it ratio with YouTube. And unfortunately, Evolution 3, I don't think really suits that ratio very nicely. I'm sure Evo has encountered the same problems. The game's been out for just over a month. I think if we give the game a little longer, we'll have more blueprints to use. See, I think that's not necessarily a good thing, though. The workshop is already so absolutely full of stuff. I mean, I went looking for wall pieces earlier on, before the stream. There were 43 pages of stuff for wall pieces alone. That's quite a lot of looking, and looking through them, I couldn't find a single one that I thought was perfect to what I wanted, so I'm going to have to build it my own. I think over time the workshop's going to get so bloated that I think it'll actually be better to just not use it. Yeah. And then we're going to put loads of plants and stuff in here, so I think that's fine. This I think is fine if we get one of these lovely trim pieces and maybe just trim this join slightly. Yeah, that's a little nicer. And then I think what we'll also do is we'll trim this wall as well. Obviously, none of these walls are going to stay as blank concrete. They're all going to have, I think, a sort of din white to them. Where is... So, that's about the halfway point there. So we'll go posh. What I'm going to do is spend like the next... So the first hour of the stream is going to be on this, and then the next hour of the stream will be on like figuring out the wall that we're going to create over this side and this side. And then the last hour will hopefully be like trying to at least get ready for some dinosaurs, or maybe decide what sort of dinosaur related stuff we're gonna have. I think we'll probably have some. We're gonna have dinosaurs in both sections, but obviously we'll have to carefully think about the dinosaurs we want at our training facility. Now again, I was umming and ahhing about what to do for this, the helicopter area, but having had a look at other helicopter areas, they're quite simple, so I'm just going to keep mine relatively simple. I mean, I do want there to be a nice fuel tank. It's not going to be a huge one. And then we're going to have, like, not a massive wall behind it, but a little bit of a wall behind it. Good. A little bit high there. Actually, it needs to be a minimum height, this wall. I do want people to be able to get in here. Move that slightly. Well, actually, that doesn't make much sense to have that there. I'm going to have it in here. No, so this is what was getting me stuck the other day as well. Like, I do want there to be a kind of building here that we can infer is like where all the fuel and that's located. Maybe we could just have this corner, and maybe we could have like fuel pipes or stuff sticking out down here. Let's delete that and let's put in standard concrete wall. Let's curve it in slightly. And then we can grab this and just duplicate it. This would be... It just looks a little weird though, doesn't it? Maybe it's because we're making it from the wrong material. Let's grab the... I think it's corrugated that they use around the back of the amenity buildings. Stone wood. Not that one. It's this stuff. need to give it a roof. I think for this we'll go with the same corrugated roof as we've been using over there. That's too big. Right, you need to trim it. Means we need these pieces. That's the other thing about modular building is it's rare to even see your first dinosaur. Yeah. It's one of the problems I'm fully aware my streams have, is that this park is going to take forever to even get to the position where we're putting dinosaurs in. And that makes streams not particularly interesting to watch. Which is why I am thinking about having that alternate park that we have, where we're just using the modular building pieces, and we'll see how far we get. Because at least that way, the chances are we'll get to dinosaurs quickly, you know? But I suspected that was going to be a problem with this game before it came out. Was how do you stream a modular building game? I've seen some Planet Zoo players who are like, they do super long just building streams. So they just like stream all day, and it's like, we're going to do a bunch of building and actually get things built, and then they use their shorter streams for like the more exciting stuff. But I don't know whether that would work particularly well for my channel. I don't know. I'm in the middle of thinking about different ideas. It's just a bit like that. Okay, we need some semicircular chunks. Those not the same. They're 1.1s. This one is 1.1. Bit weird, that. They're not the same thickness. Right, we need some girders. Then there's the terrain and building constraints. Yeah, I'm surprised that we do have so strict constraints on a modular building game. That seems very weird to me. Like, you've given us modular building, but then you've also simultaneously kept like terrain constraints and building constraints. What a weird thing to have done. Although that is typically Frontier, you know. One step forward, one step back, always. Just realized there's something else that the roof needs, but I'll ignore that for now. Where is the door? I'm gonna have the door in here. Frontier, give the Frontier, taketh away. Yeah. Which again is not to say that I think this is a bad game. I really do hope that I've got that point across in my review that comes out on Wednesday, because I suspect I'm going to get some people criticizing my comments. I don't think this is a bad game. I would never call Evolution 3 a bad game, actually. I think Evolution 1, I think, is definitely a bad game. And Evolution 2, I think there are some arguments to say, or that you could say, that it's not a fantastic game. But Evolution 3, I think even I accept that this is a good game. But it is not a great game. It's a long way off being a great game, actually. And as I say in my review, give you a quick little spoiler, I don't think this will ever be a great game. Because to get to being a great game, they would have to change stuff which I don't think they're going to change. I don't see them massively improving either the lagoons or the aviaries now. Okay. So this is where we're going to infer that the fuel tank and stuff for filling up the chopper is located. So if the fuel tank is in there, we want some piping to infer that, like, the tank is inside there. And I'm gonna say we'll have the fuel piping over here. We'll say that we have two. We have two pipes, set of pipes. But do we have anything that looks like it could make for a reasonable, like, fuel pipe? Like, I suppose something like this would. But even on its smallest sort of thing, it's still, that's still way too big to look like it's a fuel pipe. We need something that's like a hose, but smaller. I really don't think we have anything that's like it. It's never too big to fit. Maybe we could just have this as like... I have an idea. Where were those? Where was the place? Just have it like go into there, and then I'm thinking we could have got like one of these. Let's have that position there. And then I'm thinking, where was that big wheel? Because this could be... I feel like we can argue that this is like a pretend fuel cable, if you squint. Yeah, and we can change the color of it, right? So if we make it red, then it's like red for danger. It's like where the fuel is going to be coming from. That's my thinking anyway. Okay, I'm gonna save here, just because obviously that saves the modular building. And now we need to build the wall. So what I want is 2 relatively large concrete walls stretching across here. We'll figure out how to like get the river into them, but we just want to I just want to focus on getting the concrete walls, and they just have to be dead straight concrete walls. I'm not going to do anything like super fancy. Now I did download some wall blueprints off the workshop to test. So that's not tall enough. These are good, but I think they're not the right style. This one is... I think this one potentially, but again, it's not quite the right style. And this stuff, although I like how it looks, again, it's not the right style. Like, that's the big problem for me, is none of these wall pieces I feel are in the right din style. This is like the closest that I could... This stuff is like the closest in terms of what I want it to be. So, let's actually just... confirm. Why did that not duplicate in it? The concrete post at the end is not straight. You see that? this this brick tower is not straight. He also hasn't grouped it together. Oh my lord. I'll build the fucking wall myself. That's what I've decided. I've decided I'm gonna build the wall myself. Okay, what do we want the wall to be made of? Hello, Joshua. I think the central core of the wall can be this style of concrete. I quite like that style. I'm going to make sure it doesn't have to be like 100% straight, but we'll make sure it's relatively straight. I think that's fine. Make sure it's in kind of the right spot. That'll do. Why is this not yeah. Maybe here sometime. I think 3 high, I think, is acceptable. And we will make it one chunk in width. Just realized probably the better way of doing this would be to just make one chunk of wall and copy and paste it across. Let's think about this logically, shall we? Right. So each chunk of the wall will be 5 pieces long. It'll be 1 piece wide. That's the other thing about modular building. You have to think about how you're actually building. Like, am I building in the most efficient way possible? Otherwise, you waste so much time. Right, we need a roof on the top. I'm thinking we'll just be, or a floor on the top. I think we'll be pretty standard, and we'll go for brick. Brick is good. What happened to the grid size? Weird. Okay, we cannot have the brick where I want it. That's annoying. Ah. I have to manually place down the roof. We'll obviously put a piece of trimming over the top of this. Okay. Wall trim. I quite like the, where is it? This stuff. This is, I think this is very, like, defensive wall. So, I'm gonna put these pieces. I reckon about there. After all, people like things that are hard. Hello, Professor. Why does it do that? It never... Sometimes it doesn't place this down and rotate it in the way you expect it to rotate. How far across is that? I reckon about there. Okay. I do almost kind of want some windows in this. Like, I don't want the whole thing to just be a concrete wall, because I think that will look kind of ugly. Do we have something nice and chunky to put in there? We do. we'll have to put something in between them. Actually, no we won't. Let's just make these slightly bigger. And then if we duplicate now... Okay. And just duplicate that. And then what we could do is we could even put some like walls and stuff, doors and stuff in here later on, so it infers that like people can walk through this. Okay, now I'm thinking we definitely need some columns. Have we got some really nice, big, chunky... I think the lagoon columns? Yeah, those are nice. I want something bigger than that, really. Or rather, not as angled. I put something like this. No, not maybe not that one. Maybe that one. Okay, let's grab that one. Rotate. How big can I make it? That's not bad, actually. In terms of contour line is in the way. In terms of like overall chunkiness, I don't think that's too bad. If we have it hanging out, and then we could have something going up from this as well. Okay, so if you put one there, then I think one there. And then let's have one that's like down at ground level. Can we move this? Yeah, let's just move it so we can see what the bloody hell we're doing with it. And then we want a big chunky base on this. Yeah, okay. And then put those lovely chunky like brackets, don't we? Well, where I'm using the word chunky a lot. But it's the best describer for stuff like this. That doesn't really work there. I mean, that would have worked on the floor as like base, and maybe we could. Ooh, actually, that's a better idea. I prefer that. Okay, let's get rid of that. And these. Let's start with these pieces. on the bottom. And I am going to have, so I'm going to have them hanging out halfway. So when you duplicate this wall piece and move it along, all you have to do is remove one of these bars. Now I want it to be sticking out a little bit from the wall, so we have something to put a chunk of concrete. And then that fits a lot better in the middle of them. And then we leave that side empty. So basically all you do is you copy and paste it along, and then you'd only need to copy one of those elements. You know what I mean? To sort that out. I don't want both sides of this to be identical either. I do want them to be slightly different. Square post, angled post. Angled post is what I want. You're trying to do some challenge mode at the moment. Yes, I've done 3 so far. I've still got quite a few to do. I do want to do all of them. And now that I've actually done my review video, I'm thinking next week I might just make all the streams challenge mode streams. Just to give us a bit of a break from modular building. Because, you know, I am more than fully aware of how tedious watching this is. Trust me. I'm thinking I actually want these at an angle, because what we're going to do is the tops of this we're going to use to place some wiring on, like fencing. So I want them at a bit of an angle. And I don't mind the gap. I think the gap is fine. And then on this side of the wall, what I'm thinking is we'll just use those chunky lagoon sections. And make them a little smaller. Maybe not. If that side is going to be like the anti-dinosaur side, like what do we want this side to be, which is the nicer, supposed to be the nicer side? Maybe we could just do some just very basic columns. So, like, have just some very basic concrete columns that go up. Don't want them sticking out too much. Can do the same for there, and then maybe we can make sure they have a nice base. I'll actually make the base a little bit wider, because I kind of want there to be an angled bit at the base of these columns. Yeah, I would have liked a Utahraptor statue too. I do think some of the statue choices they made are a little bit boring. Like, I feel like there are some really cool statues I'm surprised we don't have. Like, the only sauropod one we have is Brachiosaurus, right? Let me just quickly check that myself. Harry, Trike, Steg, Spino, Moser, Dilo, Galley. Yeah, the only sauropod we have is a Brachie. Like, we don't even have Dreadnoughtus, like the biggest of the sauropods. We don't have Dreadnoughtus as a statue, which I do think is a strange oddity, really. I think that's fine. Then we could put some like lighting on the ends of these pillars. I think that's fine. I do think it's a little concrete heavy, so I'm going to be a bit of a weirdo. Just because all of my din buildings, they have wood as part of their construction. So just continuing on with that design element, I'm going to put some wood on this wall. After trimming the base. So let's put some wood at the edge of this section. So I feel like this then means, you know, it kind of fits in with the rest of my other din buildings. And it does move away from that horrible, just permanent concrete effect. I'll probably make the wood a darker color. Just because I think this this color is a bit bright. I'll probably darken it to make it look like it's a darker, stronger wood, but I think that just adds something. Yeah. Plenty of space to put logos or doors or that sort of thing on there. And then on the other side, we're going to, again, trim it, but we're going to tilt the trim so we want this that way up. How far out do we want it sticking? I think we want it that. And then again, as just a contrast to the other side of that, I'm going to chuck some thick girdering in here. So like on the nice side, you've got the wood. And then on the dinosaur side, you have the metal. I think that just adds a certain something. Why did you do that? Okay. I did that wrong. Duplicate. 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 We didn't get a statue for the Indominus or the Giga. No. Again, a bit curious that. I kind of feel like Frontier are trying to kind of toe a fine line between the older members of the player base, like me, who think that the original movies are superior, and the, shall we say, younger members of the audience who like their hybrids and their gigas and all the rest of it. Which I can understand why. There we go. So that's our dinosaur side, that's our friendly side. You see, there's two different sides to this, which I think is fine. Now, obviously, on the friendly side, we want to put up want to have some banisters, and we want to have like a fence. So gantry. I think one thing we are going to have to create is a gatehouse version of this, or like a tower version where you can access the wall. I think we'll change the color of this as well. We'll probably make it nice dim blue or orange, something like that. We'll have a bit that sticks out. That way when you combine it to the other sections, you can just snap it in. Actually, it probably makes sense to change the color of this now. I think dim blue, I think. And then the actual fencing on the top. I actually kind of need to have a look at their fencing. So what have they got? They've just got like I feel like I want to go with something that's like lots of little wires, like the classic JPOG style. So how do we make I don't think there's anything in there that will help. So we need something to be the post, don't we? That would work. Okay, where was that one? That one was in... Yeah, okay, so... Let's take that. Now, obviously I want the post upright. Or at least maybe at an angle. But we want the angular piece at the top to be like that. Can we make that thicker? Is that as thick as we can get it? Okay, and duplicate that to there. And then I guess stringing between them, we're going to want cable, which is this stuff. Oh, this is going to take a while. Okay, so we want one piece that's kind of there. Yep. So let's make sure that's in there properly. And duplicate. Damn. No, I said duplicate. That just advanced moved. Okay. I wish the camera would behave. About there. And another one about there. And I'm going to have to duplicate and move over every one of these Hmm. I don't know if I like that. It looks a bit flimsy to me. I wish we had more feeder types too. What can we do to make that look less flimsy? Maybe we could put some additional, like, strengthening in? That's a bit better. I know this seems kind of pointless, but I just want a bracket there or something, because that just seemed really bizarre not to have anything there. Yeah, and I think we probably need some... to do this, we're gonna have to, emergency lights, floodlights, ground light. Oh, that's a flashy one. See, these emergency lights only come on if something isn't powered. They only come on when there's an emergency. I know that some of these lights are always on. Maybe it would be better to not have it in the dark. You can actually see which lights are actually always on. So that's always on. Those ones are always on as well. Okay. So what if we made this one red? I want it really red. Is that a weird angle? Why is it at a weird angle? Is that flat? Yeah. That way we can infer that it's powered, you know, like the classic. It's going to annoy all the OCD players because they don't go off all at the same time. That's fine. It's just a nice little piece of extra detail. Now, I do think we need some actual lighting. So, I want some floodlights that we can have. I think we're going to need the biggest ones you got. That's not very... I thought they would be kind of brighter than that. That's better. Okay, so duplicate that one and have it there and there and I think we're going to need to have one here. No, we need to have one in like roughly the middle of that bit. And I think we could probably just do the same here. Maybe that lighting is a little much. Maybe we can get something that's like more like a blue light. Blue light is like that, isn't it? Ooh, yes. I like that. Confirm. Duplicate. And then on this side, the lighting can actually be white, because the aim is we don't want to disturb the dinosaurs or any potential dinosaurs with bright white light. But on this side it doesn't matter, so we can have bright white lights. Then on the inside, I do want to do that thing. I want it to make it look like there's walkthroughs here. So I think we'll do the wood surround thing again. Is this one, that one? Oh, it's this piece. How are they not? This needs to be lower down. You. Need a simple light in here, I think. You need to trim the top of that. Quite curious to see if they'll do anything to make the baby Rebirth Spino look different to the base game one. I don't think they will, because so far all the variants have had the same base game babies, haven't they? I do wonder if the Rebirth Spino will be a variant, or whether it will be just a straight skin. I'm hoping it will be a variant, because one of the few things I can say I did actually like about Rebirth was the design of the Spinosaurus. And I think obviously we need some lighting in here. And again, I think this should be that lovely blue light. Go with every Do you think we need to make sure people don't fall out? So I'm just going to put in Maybe just, how high? About there? Actually, let's just use the gantry fencing again. We'll just vary it a little bit. Yeah, just about that. Oh, it's not going to let me grab the... It wasn't going to let me grab it. Let's duplicate that bit. Make sure it's in the right spot. Delightful. Same thing again. Duplicate. Make sure it's in the at the right height. Which needs to be about that. That would kind of suck since it feels enough to warrant a variant. I agree. I think it does. I think the Spino does warrant a variant. But I wouldn't be surprised if Frontier also don't, just because of the amount of work, you know? I wish the Lux... I wish they... King Giga, I wish they would do more with the Lux patterning. Like, I wish we had more control of that. I would really like to be able to have a Lux pattern on every animal. Oh, I think we need some... those are a bit severe. Do we have anything that's... Yeah, more like that. I feel like this this wall is exposing me as a creator of fortifications. In my spare time, I do not make this sort of thing, I promise. We should have gotten a Lux Scorpius. Yeah, like, I think every dinosaur should have one Lux skin. And I think those with, like, crests or frills or adornments of other sorts should have more than one. I think that's pretty good as wall sections go. Let's put it back in daylight. So, I want to make the wood a different color. I think I want the wood to be the same color as this one. Yeah, that's better. And I think these column pieces, I want to have them in. And then I think the rest of that's pretty much fine as is. I mean, maybe we could change... Can we change the color of this stuff? Yeah, maybe we could have that dim orange on the top. Dim blue. Ooh, the dim blue looks nice. Okay, we'll have the dim blue and that. And then maybe we could change the trim to dim orange. Yeah, I dig it. These guys make black just to match the surrounding metal. This trim layer will make black as well, just to match these column bases here. Same for these bits of trim. I think that's a pretty damn good din wall, actually. I'm actually pretty happy with how that's come out. Okay, so just to confirm that this is all in one piece. Yep, that is all in one piece. We will make this as blueprint, and we will make this as... we'll have it from this side. In wall segment. Okay. Now to just double check that that is working. Oh yeah. Excellent. I think we need 2 more elements to the walls. We need like a halfway tower, and then we need the gatehouse. So what's going to be the easiest way of doing the tower? I think we'll build the tower as if we were adding a section onto this. So halfway tower. I want it to be 2 pieces like that. I want to get rid of the walls. No, we'll keep the walls, just in case people want to put these as separate things. We want them to be slightly wider, though. I think we do. But let's try this again. So each one is going to be like half a bit bigger. Like that. And again, they'll be covered in brick. In fact, before we put the brick in, let's put the trim. How far out does that need to go? Quite far, I'd say. Scorpius doesn't have a luck skin. That I'm not necessarily surprised at, since it seems like they're going pretty full on with the... We want it to look exactly the same as the one in the show, so... Now the big problem is if you have a gate, if you have like a tower, how would you snap it onto the end of that? Can I select all of this? And split from group? Yes, I can. Okay. So how do I make the tower connect to that? Oh, you'd have to do a lot of messing around, wouldn't you? So maybe it makes more sense to assume the towers go here. Okay, so assume the tower's going to snap onto each end piece. First thing we need to do is correct that, because they're in the wrong place. And then all of these need to be moved as well. Now, how do you do this bit? I feel actually like the problem is these. I feel like we're going to have to. People are going to have to do a little bit of this themselves and to get them to join up correctly. But I think people should, not kick up a fuss about that. Okay, so how do we connect that to there? We're going to need to use these chunks. This is more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Again. Why do I do this? Why do I have such complicated ideas? Why didn't I just make the gatehouse the exact same size as the wall? Not gatehouse, the tower. Why didn't I just decide, oh, the tower can just be the same as the wall? Why didn't I just do that? Oh, how does... Oh, it's like that, and then... Oh, I don't think I can do that? Oh, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna have to do something like that. And what do you do for there? Huh. They gave the Indominus an indirect. Oh yeah, I remember them doing that. I mean, honestly, the hybrids are just... The Rebirth Pack is probably going to be the most disappointing DLC for me when they eventually decide what they're going to do with it. Because, like, I have absolutely no interest in the hybrids. In the D-Rex or the Mutadon. So... I'll have to think about something to do with the corners. Maybe we could put like a pillar down the concrete pillar down the middle, like we done over there. So if you're attaching one of these to there, what else do you then need? You need another one of these fence girder chunks. Selection cannot be merged. Okay. Oh no. I've just realized something. I don't think this wall is straight. Now, this wall is straight, but when I make it its own group, it's no longer in line. Very annoying. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this all my bloody self again. Okay. Big chunk of wall. On there. Get it into its position. Position is about there. We don't need one on... You want to assume people will build this wall from left to right. Okay, so there's that bit. Then we want the column. Which has to be vertical and then off by 1. The other alternative is that we essentially get a glorified Microceratops. I don't know why everyone was so eager to have Microceratops. It's such a pointless animal. Honestly, I feel like, again, they really should have given us a better way of displaying Microceratops and other small animals. Again, I don't see why we still haven't got anything like smaller enclosure types. Baffles me. Okay, and then assuming they're going to build this left to right, so you stick a wall onto this, so that's fine. We won't have a central girder down the middle. Maybe we should actually. I just realized there's a mistake. Maybe we should have a central girder down the middle. But this one we can do ourselves. That. We need our base trim. Base trim. This one is black. Duplicate. There's our base trim. We want to do the same with this side. Oh, this side is still N. Okay, and then big white column. Conker column. Okay. Now we want a base to those columns. Oops. Like, the way I'm thinking is if I can get these done, or this lot done in this stream, then I can off stream go and get the walls built and stuff like that, and then next time we're at this park, we'll be in a better position to actually start thinking about dinosaurs. That's the way I'm looking at it. Hang out, that's all. And we need these columns. May Mutadon save the franchise from always using raptors. Look, I still hold firm in my statement that the Mutadons were the single worst thing about Rebirth. Literally every scene they were in, you could have just given to an actual dinosaur or a actual raptor, and we could have had actual raptors in our dinosaur movie. But no. Gareth Edwards didn't think raptors were scary anymore. Yeah, same here, Zhao. I think I'm done with the movies. Okay, so I now need to move this slightly. So what I want to do is figure out. So that's you positioning it in the right place. Before I do that, there's one more thing I need to do. Fences. This thing. wants to move, needs to be slightly off the vertical, needs to be like maximum thickness. Then it needs to be out there? No, that's not. About there. So there is your panel. Oh, shoot. Really, what the better idea probably is to build the entire wall in one and then split pieces off after. That would probably have been the better idea. Again, lessons learned for next time. Now I've got to put every one of these blasted cables in the right place. I think when it comes to building the gatehouse, I will definitely build it as an attachment to this already placed wall piece. Why didn't I do that to start with? Because this is going to take forever. No matter what creature beat the raptors in Rebirth, people would still bitch about it. Probably. But I think people would bitch about it less than it being mutants. Like, I think if the raptors had been killed by some Procerato or poisonous Troodons, I think people would be less bothered. I think it's the fact that not only the raptors were killed, or at least for me, it's not only the fact that the raptors were killed, but they were basically killed off screen. And they were killed by such a pointless creature, not even a proper dinosaur. Like, they were killed before even getting a chance to do anything. And that, to me, is the biggest annoyance. It's like, they were basically worthless. Like, I don't think you can claim the film had raptors, because the raptors weren't used. Any more of these are there? 4. Ugh. Camouflage Carno would have been better. Yeah, I would have. Considering they stole practically everything that was good of that movie from previous movies and not the novel, like, yeah, why not? Like, they already stole the river sequence and they stole the raptors in the kitchen sequence, so why not just go whole hog and steal the camouflage Carnotaurus stuff? Like, actually, I say steal it, actually use it. Like, I still would have criticized the movie for not having any original ideas of its own, but at least killing the raptors off with the camouflage Carnotaurus would have been, I think, cooler than using those stupid mutadons. I feel like that whole mutadon scene was literally just there as an attempt by Gareth Edwards just to like, make the mutadons scary by having them kill off the raptors, like how they made the Spinosaurus scary by having it kill the T-Rex. Like, have it kill off the big bad of other films. That makes this dinosaur scary. I feel was the purpose of that whole sequence. There we go. Okay, so now that would work. Like, if you put that in where it's supposed to go, there's your lovely gate building, or tower building, I should say. Where actually does it need to go? That is the position. So we now need to think. So I want to rebuild the bridge I built for my command center. Where is my command center? I haven't put one down in here. So I want the roof of these towers to be like this. To have like this glass roofing thing going. Why is my restaurant's on fire? As is the shop. We'll just ignore that. Hello, Basti. So, we need to make the vertical pieces of... Actually, maybe it's a better idea to make the actual roof first. So, glass pieces. There we are. I use the smaller ones. So, if they are... Positioning is going to be a pain. And then we have our corrugated topper. Do I want it flat? Or do I want it like the glass? I think I want it like the glass. Where is the piece I'm looking for? That is not the piece I'm looking for. No. No. It's not that. Am I the only one that thinks that's the wrong picture? Like, that's a square bit. That's a larger square bit. That's a smaller square bit. Smaller square bit. That's a large square bit. But that's not how it is. Damn, I hate that. Yeah, okay. What did I do over here? Where is it? Yeah. Oh, and then I put the trim around the edge of the glass. So... advanced menu. Oh, that's annoying. That's not going to be in the perfect position there. This is what I mean about this grid-based building system. We need a 0.5 grid because sometimes you build things on a slightly wider grid. That's gonna look really messed up. Why has it turned out like that? Yes, please. Am I the only one having the problem that collisions on-off are not saved? Yeah, no. Collision on-off resets when you load into a map. I wanted to get this into the... Where would it have to go? So, correct position. So, that's basically on the very edge of that. So if that was on the very edge there, that's nowhere near correct. Why has it turned out like that? This should be 1, 2... That's 1, 2, 3... Have I done something wrong when building the tower? Oh, I have. bugger. I'm gonna have to the whole thing has to be gotten rid of. Can we save it actually? Let me remove that. Let's see. I hate it when it does this. It's messed up so many of my other builds when it doesn't snap the pieces together correctly, and you only find out when you try and do something like those bloody glass chunks. It's like, hang on, why is none of this fitting together correctly? Does that mean all of these are in the wrong place as well? Yeah, everything is out by a factor of 1 on the grid. Arg. Okay, so now this and this, all of this has to be moved. So that needs to be shifted. Because really this will be kind of like a halfway point. This piece of trim has to be shifted slightly. This and this needs to be shifted. Okay. So if I lower this now down to... Now it's in the right position, but it's... I would say it's probably slightly too wide. I would say it probably needs to be... I think I need to get rid of the middle section. And if I position that... Okay, so... We got there in the end. No, I do not have D&D tonight. D&D has been cancelled because our dungeon master is off on a little bit of a quest of his own tonight. It's not really a quest. He's seeing his parents. Or parent. He's going to see his mum, so... That is still a quest. Yeah, it's quite a long drive for him, so... As everything is in America, it's always a long drive, isn't it? Thank you for the cup of tea. Put that bar there. We put one of those in the same place here. And then we do the same over here. So one kind of there, and one there. We grab our girder in fence. So I do think I'll place one in there just to make sure. Oh, it's actually anywhere near that. Oh, so hang on. How are we conjoining this section? So that's where the fence would join. So we need another, I think, another metal bar in there. Duplicate. Twist. Duplicate. Twist. And then we need to do the same thing over there. Duplicate. That will allow you to connect it to that side. We'll just probably... Oh! I clicked duplicate. Make sure that piece is level with the rest. It is. There you go. So now you will be able to perfectly attach that to the wall when it gets to it. Let's just double check that. So if you're attaching it to the end of this section, that's about where it goes. I've just noticed something wrong. I haven't moved the light. I didn't move the light. There we go. Yeah, so if you're attaching it to this side, that works fine. And if you're attaching it to this side, you need a little bit more there. That also works fine. Goodness me. And then I think what I'll do with the rest of this, I think I'm going to put like some pretend stairs coming out from one corner of this. Maybe have like a pretend glass wall showing a stairwell. And then on this side, I think we'll just place, I don't know, maybe some windows, something. Probably not windows, actually. Maybe just have it, have some natural, like, grass walling, so we can have, like, some foliage there, just to get rid of some of the concrete effect. Have some of the wooden slatting across like we've done over there. Also thinking maybe we should make this like one of the fire escape ones. So maybe have some gantry stairs running down. Maybe we could do that over here actually. Have like a fire escape ladder down one side. Or both sides. But that'll be something I do off stream. Because it's nearly 11. We really haven't got much done, have we? We've made a wall segment, a tower segment. We made a nice covering, and I've got a fuel delivery / maintenance thing to do over here. But it takes so long to do anything in this game. I think I need to spend like a solid day next week just literally doing modular building to finish off this structure and get everything else done. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here for tonight. Thank you everyone for coming in and just, you know, chatting and hanging out while I've been doing the boring work of modular building. Next week on Friday and Sunday, I'm going to just do challenge modes, which will be a bit more interesting for us to watch. And it also gives me time to complete the modular building work on this bit of the park. And then hopefully, sort of the next time we come here, these walls will get in place on this side and then on this side. And then we can start thinking about like certain dinosaur type enclosures, what side is going to be for what. I think the paleo, since we've got the most room over here, I think the paleo vet is going to kind of do this now so I don't forget. I think this little lump here, that's a weird shape, I'm going to say this can be like the paleo vet. Maybe the paleobotany section as well. Need to probably find a greenhouse structure I can use off the internet, off the workshop. This down here is all going to be power related. And then this side I think will make so where will we have like the actual AC building? I'm thinking maybe we can probably actually have the ACU structure like, I don't know. I have to think about that one. But yeah, we'll focus on this side first, because this side has the most amount of space, so we can definitely focus on that, and maybe I'll try and get a few extra things done. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll save for now. My poor eyes need a break. And yeah, I will see you folks next week for the usual streams, and my review, like I say, is out on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think of that. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evenings, stay safe, and good night.